I grew up in a very poor home. Things were not so easy to come by. My upbringing with everything I saw growing up pushed me because I wanted to come to the point where I could take care of mom, take care of my siblings, and take care of myself. I realized that if you want to scale up, if you want to, go big, you need people. I opened my mind to bringing extra people in because I realized that I was draining myself. I decided to wash my hands off a lot of things and then give them the decision power. But then sometimes I get to the point where I feel like, why am I not paying them? Because I feel like they deserve to be paid, right? I just had to move from a place of wanting to manage everything to a place of trusting the people. They'll do mistakes. Do the mistake. It doesn't cost you that much. Just correct them. Just move on.
You said your mom trimmed your hair for you herself. Why?
There was no money at all. Whatever you want to build from consuming unscripted, you should be able to. You don't have to show so much of your personal life. When I heard that story, I realized that God had a reason for why Reagan became Reagan. So I'm doing everything from a place of God gave me this, so I trust him in every step of the way. The first time I saw my dad, I was 15. I remember I came out from the room and I saw two men and my mom. And the two men radioed me. Who do you think is your father?
Hello, community. Thanks for showing up again. The conversation about to listen to is one with Reagan Marfo. Reagan is the lead for Team Raygan, the team behind the Unscripted Reagan Podcast. Impressive podcast, and an impressive young man. I think for me, the takeaway from this conversation was his mindset on execution. We explored his upbringing, building other things outside the podcast, and then the journey he's taken with the podcast thus far. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. And as a community that is focused on builders and entrepreneurs, we're also always looking out for opportunities we can present for you business people or people in our community to tap into. And so we're exploring a couple of options with Bewire. We spoke with their CEO a while back. We're working on a couple of surprising things. Bewire is essentially a B2B cross-border payment platform. So if you're a business owner that sources your things or you're purchasing things from outside Ghana, across the borders of Ghana, Bewire is the best bet, and great things coming up with Bewire. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did, and our mantra remains, just build something. All right, Reagan, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Bill.
I've been trying to remember how I first came across your work on the internet. I've tried so hard and it's not coming to me. How did I first see this guy's content? All I realized is you're all over the place, all over my timeline. And I mean, you are doing a fleet of saints. We share common ground in podcasting.
Right.
I still find it interesting when I call myself a podcaster. But anyway, and I think the first conversation of yours I saw was the round table with the men's round table.
Yeah, last
year. But I didn't even pay attention to who the host was until the time all over the TL. Great work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Great work. And thanks for deciding to come here. And so
it's a privilege.
And so my question is that I know you've taken you found an extensive journey for a very young man, doing a lot of things. So Team Raygan, I'll start from there.
Okay.
How did that start?
All right. And by the way, I'm not very young. I'm very old. Don't mind yourself. Team Raygan started last year, February. But before then, I used to record content on YouTube, but mainly on design. Because remember I mentioned I had a background in design. Mainly on design, I was just screen recording my design stuff. But then last year, February, I was like, I want to go on a different journey. But before that, last year was 2024, right? So 2023 in September, I was talking to Michael and one of my guys, and I was like, I want us to kind of change the media space in terms of how stories are shared over here, right? Because back then, most of the stories you hear was mainly entertainment focused or focused on the artists, musicians, and all that. But they were not getting people share their story, people who are building stuff. Because we had a lot of amazing people. So, for example, let's pick someone like Julian. Yeah. Julian was doing a lot, but you will not see his face out there. Not because he didn't want to, but because there was not that space for some of these stories to be highlighted, right? Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I want us to share some of these stories. And during COVID, I was consuming a lot of content from the Western countries. And some of these stories were inspiring. And I'm like, we have people here we can also highlight. So in February 2024, we started... I just started the podcast. The very first time we were recording the podcast, I didn't have the name for the podcast. It was an idea name I had, which was Know Your Tech Buddy. That's a whole story I've shared before, because I just wanted to share stories. I was like, maybe we are bringing people for people to know them, right? So I contacted Michael. We came together. He had a camera. I mean, I just wanted to start working. And I think I'm that kind of person. I execute before I even overthink, right?
Yeah.
On the round table with the females, the shared clarity comes with motion. As time goes on, you figure things out.
True.
So the very first time we were recording the pod, that guest, Henson, came. And then when I mentioned it, he was like, nah, bro, this one, yeah, it doesn't hit. So we just, at that time, chat was new. We just took our phone, went to ChatGPT, and then that's when Unscripted name came from. So shout out to ChatGPT.
Sam Altman.
Shout out to Chat. So Unscripted came from then and realized that there were a couple of people called Unscripted. We just added with Raygan just to make it more personalized. So that was when Team Raygan was born. So along the way, and I realized that, you know what, we could actually do a couple of shows, not just like the podcast. So like I mentioned to you before the conversation started, the other shows we are trying to brainstorm on and come out with, or let me say other podcasts and other industries, because once again, the media space over here is saturated with a lot of entertainment content. So we are trying to change that narrative. And when I see podcasts like the Peswa, Connected Minds, Elevate and Empower, I'm very happy because now there's more of this coming up as compared to, let's say, a year or two ago, right? So that was how Team Raygan started. It was just
interesting. I tried to build something like Flight Studio.
Yeah.
I asked because I think that I sensed the Steven influence heavily.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're very open about it.
Yeah.
And that's great. He's doing amazing work. And now that you mentioned that you were consuming a lot of Western content during COVID, the idea to start Unscripted, did it come from consuming Diary of a CEO? Hello, friends. A quick pause before we continue the conversation. If you're enjoying this conversation, kindly hit the subscribe button. Also, do well to share this episode with a friend. And if possible, leave a comment in the comment section. This goes a long way to help the team and motivates us to bring you great content every week. Now to the conversation.
Interesting enough, no.
Okay.
When I started planning, that was when I even came across Steven's flight story. I knew about Diary of a CEO and all that, but I didn't really deep it like that. The person I was consuming a lot at that time was Ali Abdal. I don't know if you know, he was a doctor, now turned a YouTuber. He was doing a podcast. There were a couple of other creators I was consuming. Steven was part, but I didn't even know he was even running Flash Story.
Okay.
So along the way, why do I keep saying along the side? Along the way, when I was watching his videos, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what he's doing. He has other shows under Flight Story and all that. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what are the next steps looking like with Team Raygan?
Well,
and I'm really excited about what you're doing because it looks like an extensive team. How many people are in the team now?
10.
Yeah, that's a huge number. Very all young people.
Yeah.
I see you guys have like meetings, and then you're executing really great things. Even with the most recent one, the roundtable
females. Yeah.
Females, yes. So quite a great team, young, energetic. How are you managing that? You know, like what's the because it looks like people are going out of their way, trusting this young man with this young vision, young people. No, what's the management style?
Good question. And my first answer to you will be it's tough. I think maybe I'll say this here for the very first time. There's a new private account I created for myself that no one has access to, just me.
Okay.
And I created that private account to share something. And one day, I can't believe I said this here. And one day I recorded a video and I was talking about how tough it is managing people, right? Because most of the people on the team are volunteers.
Okay.
I'm not even saying all of them are volunteers,
Yeah.
right? People that are willing to build with me long time because they know where we are going. But then sometimes I get to the point where I feel like, how am I not paying them? Because I feel like they deserve to be paid, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough on that side, especially on the monetary side.
Financial incentives.
Yeah, it's very tough because I'm sure maybe you feel, I don't know if you pay your people, but I'm sure if you have volunteers, sometimes you feel like, actually, I need to give these people money so that they can come all out. But my people are really, really dedicated to the mission. In terms of managing, I'm one person that didn't like working with people because I like to micromanage. I like to have things done a certain kind of way. But then I realized that if you want to scale up, if you want to, go big, you need people. So I opened my mind to bringing extra people in this year. Okay. Before then, we're just very few.
Yeah.
Doing editing ourselves, everything. But then I opened my mind to bring in extra people, designers, social media, community managers, and all that this year. Because I realized that I was draining myself. And even bringing them in, I decided to wash my hands off a lot of things and then give them the decision power. So I think there was one time I was watching Behind the Diary with of Steven, and he mentioned that he's at the point where even though he's the CEO, he makes sure that every decision is taken so that when it gets to him, it's just final things he has to do. So I tried as much as possible to just take my hands off it. So roundtable like this, in terms of marketing social media, I didn't do anything.
Okay.
I just told them that I trust you people. Just do everything that will represent the brand well. That's all. Let me just go and sleep and think about, the Saturday we are recording, right?
Yeah.
So I just had to move from a place of wanting to manage everything to a place of trusting the people. They'll do mistakes. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do the mistake. It doesn't cost you that much. Just correct them. Just move on.
This is very insightful for me personally because the Peswa, it's a very, very, very lean team.
Yeah, I noticed.
Particularly because my boss Dick is it's like a next to perfectionist. He wants things done in a certain way. And so I think we basically do everything. It's like a 3-man team more or less.
Okay.
Yeah. Very tight. And so this has given me a lot to think about that well. Because we've had people who have reached out to us on the social saying, oh, hey, we want to help, we need where we can. But we just still, and so to hear you say you have a 10-man team, seeing the kind of work you're doing, okay, we can also try and explore this, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. There's something I want to touch on. I saw this post of yours a while ago. Because when I came in, this is the first time I'm meeting you, right?
Yeah.
We've interacted a few times on the socials. You're a good-looking young man. Oh.
Don't mind you.
Good-looking. Very confident, right? But there's something you shared about growing up and how when you were growing up, people used to ridicule you about certain things, like certain physical features.
Yeah.
And now you have turned those things to, I don't know, into weapons, so to speak, or like those are the things that people seem to commend and talk about when they see you, right? Do you want to talk about that?
For the people watching, today is Monday. I see where this guy is taking us. Don't worry. Okay, so, maybe, okay, no, I will not. I was going to say maybe I'll get you some pictures, but no. Yeah. I had very interesting features in terms of my eyes, my big head. My head is still big. Yeah. For my eyes, I don't know if they've reduced in size or they are more flesh or whatever, but I had very interesting features. My eyes were big, very bulky, like they are falling. Let me see. My head was big. My mother used to trim my hair for me back then. So Sakura and things. And anytime I'm going to school, people will be teasing my eyes. Hey, what they were to so I'm sure if you know this Ghanaian actor, Sun Sum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, his was extreme, but people used to compare me, tease me, that kind of thing. Your eyes are big. And I used to feel very insecure about it. Even with my looks. I didn't. So when I go to uni and people say, oh, you're cute, you're handsome, you're nice. I was wondering, I thought they were fooling me. Then from JHS, I went to SHS, boys' school, boys' school and teasing.
Which boys' school did you go to?
Pope John.
PJ. Okay.
Yeah. Teasing. And it was even worse there, like teasing my eyes, teasing my head, all those kind of things. So,
what did you study at Pope John's?
Business.
Okay.
Yeah. Did business, did computer science in uni.
Okay.
Yeah.
University of Ghana.
Yes, please.
All right.
So the teasing, it used to get to me, especially in JHS, getting into SHS, like I was insecure about it. So even going to uni, I was a bit scared of how I was going to interact with women or people, specifically women. It's not something I ever spoke about it till that post.
Yeah.
Even my mother didn't know about it, but I used to be very insecure, like that bad about my look. But then I go to uni, level 100, 200, people started complimenting, oh, you have nice eyes. Oh, your face is cute. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? My smile, good. So in JHS, I smile very wide. So in JHS, people like, why are you smiling and showing all your teeth and things? So sometimes when I'm trying to smile, I'm like, I don't know how to do it. Yeah. Like you smile and then people don't see all your teeth, but I can't control it. I remember one time somebody was like, you can. I'm like, no, if I smile without my teeth, or like, it looks fake, right? So people used to laugh about it in JHS and SHS. I go to uni and then I take pictures, selfies, and be like, oh, I like your smile. I'm like, what the heck is going on, right? And I think the day I made that post, a few days before that, I was just praying and God was just talking to me. And it came to mind, I was like, wow, this is something that I used to be insecure about, and now it become like one of my strongest things. Especially my smile. Like people see my picture. I remember when I made that post on TikTok, so many people commented on it on how it made them feel, because it's I think a lot of people have insecurities, and sometimes there was a part I didn't add to the post. Sometimes teasing can get to people a lot, and even with guys, some little jokes. I feel like we can be very, very careful about it, because I was strong, I didn't act on that, but you don't know who you're going to tease for them to take an action on that. I feel like sometimes guys make certain jokes little, so even in my circle of friends, there's a limit to the kind of jokes we have to have. Right? You can't. Let's be.
That's true.
Right?
I asked this question to have a segue into your upbringing and your childhood, and I think there are a couple of strengths you brought up I'd like us to pull. And you're right. I like wearing hats a lot. Everywhere you see me, I'm almost wearing a hat, unless I'm going to church or like a very formal meeting. And when people ask me why I like wearing hats, I'll typically say, my dad, I think I learned it from my dad. My dad likes wearing a hat a lot. But that's not exactly the case. Because growing up, I used to be teased that my head was big. That your head was too big. Your head big. And so I got to university, and I got the chance to start wearing a hat. Like, I just started wearing caps. And those comments waned, right? And I begin to feel a lot more confident. And, I can make this as fashion accessory. If you come to my house, I have like 30 different caps.
I have to come and steal some.
Yeah, and so that's true. Like, that's right. Things have a way of seeping into your mind. And that's very true. And so you mentioned something very striking. Your mom. I have a couple of questions to ask. You said your mom trimmed your hair for you herself.
Sure, there was a time she used to trim my hair for me.
Why?
There was no money at all.
Exactly. And so it gives me the impression that you were raised under very difficult circumstances. Financial circumstances.
Yeah, financial circumstances, yeah.
Do you think that has fed your hunger to build all the things you're building?
Yeah, it has. There are some stories my mother has told me not to share till a certain age, so I'll keep that. But yeah, I grew up in a very, I don't want to say poor home, but things were not so easy to come by or to get. And that was why, so my stepdad had, the machine they used to trim the hair, what's it called? I've forgotten it. But you know what I'm talking about. So my stepdad got one at home. So my mother used to trim my hair, everyone at home.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 siblings. Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember when I was going to SHS, my mother sent me there, and they gave you the chopbox and everything. And when she was leaving, one of my classmates, we didn't even know we were going to be in the same class. He saw me and he heard what my mother said. When she was going, she was like, "Inchi, kofi kono, ko enim tin, men kodi boni biya." And for the people, she just told me to just focus. I shouldn't go and do anything stupid. And the one guy heard it. And funny enough, we happened to be in the same class. So every time I was trying to do something stupid, he reminded me, Reagan, this is what your mother said. Because she knew where I was coming from. So every time I had trouble in school, I didn't even call her. Because I knew that this woman is already stressed, financially and everything. I'm not coming to already add stress here. But in SHS and JHS in uni, I knew where I was coming from. I think I've shared a story about how when I was in uni, I was spending, I've even forgotten amount, but I was being given very little, not because that's what she wanted to give to me, but because that's what she can, and that was what pushed me to start working on campus. So level 100, I learned graphic design to start designing for people. 40 CD per flyer, it was enough for me back then, and then I transitioned into product design and started making $100. I think around that time, dollar was 7 CD, 6 CD, 7 CD. Yeah. So I think the family I came from, or my upbringing, with everything I saw growing up, pushed me, because I wanted to come to the point where I could take care of mom, take care of my siblings, and take care of myself.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not surprised. It tends to be the narrative for most people who tend to be crazy about what they're building, and who are very particular about, who are mostly entrepreneurial, building a host of things, because your hands are in a lot of things. And so clearly there's a certain hunger that is fueling this. You mentioned that you had a stepdad.
Yeah.
I know you watch Steven's podcast a lot. There's a particular episode where the guest was like, one of the contributing factors, like the number one factor of abuse in the home was when there's a step parent present. I don't know if you remember that. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen
episode?
that. Yeah.
So you had a stepdad, but recently I realized that you posted a screenshot of a conversation with your dad, right? So it means your dad was present. Like he's alive. It's not like he's passed. What's your relationship with him?
The first time I saw my dad, I was 15. I was 15 years old. And that was definitely maybe when I was born, but I don't record it. But I was 15, and I remember that story. If my mother's watching this, I remember I came out from the room and I saw two men and my mom. And the two men radioed me, "Who do you think is your father?" And in my head, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But that was the first time I saw him. And I think after that, I've seen him like 3 or 4 times. We've spoken over the phone, but we didn't have that personal connection. I grew up with my mom. She knows every single detail about me. She knows where I am right now. She probably even knows my financial level every single time in my life, because I tell her everything to let you know how close we are. But my dad and I never fully spoke. I think it was when I was about finishing uni. That was the very first time he and I spoke about other things aside me.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, I think that was the first time. Our conversation has, if I go through my chat with my dad, it's always been birthday, happy Father's Day, hi, how are you, those kind of things. Yeah. But we are building that relationship now.
What do you feel you've missed out on?
A lot. If I speak to people that have dads, I sometimes feel like I've missed a lot, and sometimes I'm also grateful because I think dads can be very strict. So sometimes I'm grateful, and I think I'm who I am because I felt, okay, this part that's missing. There's only one person that I can rely on, so let me be able to build, or let me push myself to build what I need to build without relying on my father's money or something. Yeah. So I think I missed out on a few, but I think God knows best. But we are building that relationship now.
Great. So back to your hunger to build things and make money to take care of your mom and your siblings by extension. This forced propulsion into adulthood as a young man and starting things to get some money on the side. So graphic designer, product lead while you're on campus. What else happened?
So graphic design, taking 40 CDs and stuff, then product designer, 100. I'm mentioning the figures because over here in Ghana, people don't like mentioning figures. I don't understand them, Charlie. If you're pocket watching, I don't care. $100. Then I remember getting a job in Ghana. The first one was with a US company. Getting a job that was paying 2,000 CDs. Then went on a break. I shared this story before. I took some sales job at Bawi or Kaswa, but I didn't get a penny from that job because I realized it was going to be very stressful, so I just left. I did everything. I tried betting. Please don't bet. It's not good. Mm-hmm. I wanted to get into fraud because I was hungry for money. Yeah. This was all before I even started the graphic design. Anyways, back on track. Then when Web3 became a thing, crypto became a thing, I got a job in a US company that was paying me $1,000, between $1,000 to $1,500. That was 2021.
You're still in school?
I was still in school, yeah. So it was good money at that time. It was about 10,000 to 15,000 CDs. It was good money. I remember when I graduated and I didn't get first class, I came home and my mother was standing upstairs. I was downstairs. Like, I didn't get first class, which was like, it's fine. Later when I asked there, and it was because the whole reason for going to school was to become somebody. And if you've already figured out who you want to be and what you want to do, and it's fine. So from there, I went to, from that company, I took a little bit break. Then I took another job. That's currently where I'm working. Okay. That was paying between 3,000 to 4,500. Yeah.
So now I know you have built a couple of things. That's outside Team Raygan. You're involved in Design Junkies.
Yeah.
Want to explore that story?
Sure. Wow, I do a lot too. So Design Junkies started in 2023, 2022, if I'm correct. Yeah. Oh, 2021. I've forgotten the year, forgive me. But Sam reached out, who is the co-founder. Sam reached out to me. At that time, I just known him on Instagram. if you are familiar with design, we used to post designs on social media. He and I spoke one two times, like, oh, he wants to start a podcast, and this is the other person he wants to bring on board, Jeffrey. And I was like, you know what, let's do it, because at that time I also wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't really have the experience, and I was still on campus, so I was like, let's do it, since someone is already doing it. So when we used to, and the other two people were already done with school, I was the only student. So when we used to do it, I used to record from my room on campus, mostly in the evening. There were these birds. So if you listen to our very few episodes, I was the only one that had a lot of noise in mine, because there were birds around that were disturbing and all that. But we just came around to start the podcast, and along the way we decided that we don't want to just build a podcast. We want to build a design community. Okay. We want to build a community for creatives. And the Design Junkies, a creative is not someone who just designs or does video. It's someone who has an idea. Okay. So even if you're into business, you're still a creative, because it takes a brilliant mind to come up with an idea to start something. You're selling pure water, you're still a creative. Yeah. So we moved from becoming just a podcast, just talking about design and all that. We did it for a while. We grew the numbers, became number one in Ghana a couple of times, especially in the design space. So we moved from being just a podcast to being a design community impacting people. So there are so many people that got into design just by even listening to our podcast, or maybe you got better at what they were doing just by listening to the podcast. And last year, after our first event, FitCon, which is like, we call it our day for creatives. So we had the first edition last year, 2024, in August. After that one, we're there, and after the event, we're sitting around in Sam. If you know Sam, his mind is always working. He was like, he wants us to do something next year, something different, a campaign. I'm like, okay, we are listening to you. So he explained what it was, and then it made sense. So we started putting things together. And this year, we did a whole design, Your Greatness tour. We've been to 3 schools. So we've been to UMatt, we've been to UCC, we've been to KNUST. We are going to Ashesi next. So what we're doing, we're just taking what we've been preaching over the years to these campuses, right? Because we believe there are talents in there. And it's been amazing. When we went to KNUST, there were so many people that came to us. There's even one guy that recently called me, and he has started a community on campus in tech, just from the event and some of the talks we've had and all that. So yeah, that's what we are doing at the Design Junkies. So we are going to Ashesi in October, and FitCon is happening again in November. Yeah, in a nutshell.
Exciting.
Yeah.
When you're talking, you mentioned something I think I could relate to is just execute first. Execute first, and then the ideas will get clearer. I saw your channel move from 6,000 subscribers to 10,000 subscribers.
Well, they came later.
Oh, maybe not exactly, but maybe probably when I started paying attention.
Yeah,
from 6,000 to 10,000 in the span of like 3 weeks, and that was crazy. And then I saw the intentionality to get that done. Yeah. And it was very aggressive every day in our faces, on our on your story. Yeah, subscribe. And I'm like, why is this guy e-begging last time?
E-begging.
Yeah, and it's a testament of that mindset you have. And I wanted to touch on that a little, because I feel like that's the hallmark of like great entrepreneurs. Yeah. They just execute, just gets done. And so how do you do it? Because on the podcast, for example, on the Reagan, how does that play out in your guest acquisition, in how you're going about with the conversations, and how walk me through that?
Yeah. So I have this funny statement I make one of my team members, that the last to always implement is a squirrel. And it's just an inside joke, right? I don't like to be the last to always do something, right? So if something comes up, I just want to execute. I remember when I was on campus, there were so many ideas that came that I didn't do it. And later on, I found someone doing it. And I think I listened to a sermon one time. I don't remember who I was listening to. And the preacher mentioned that ideas don't just come to one person, right? We could probably be sitting at different places and get the same idea. The first person to implement is probably going to have the upper hand. So I'm not going to sit down and just wait. So that's how I've always thought. With my channel, like let's talk about like the subscribers side. I knew we were doing something good. We were producing good content. The quality was good. Everything was good, right? But then I felt like we're not marketing it enough. We're not pushing it enough. Recently, I made a carousel about starting a podcast and what I wish I knew. And I think that was one of the things I think I started late, because I think if I went hard in terms of marketing, like I currently did, I would have probably grown faster, right? And interesting enough, Grace, who was the marketing head at Flash Story, spoke about the same thing because they went hard on marketing when she joined the team. And you probably not see it. You probably not see that obviously, but they went hard. When she joined the team, they had just tens of thousands of subscribers. But in a few years, they're now in 15 whatever million, right? So I made it a point to be very, very intentional about the marketing. I need everybody to hear about Unscripted. Twitter, Instagram, wherever, in person, wherever I'm going. I need people to hear about my Unscripted. So even in my post that I make, instead of writing what I actually do, realize, right, create a host of Unscripted. What am I doing? I'm trying to put it in your face because if you see create a host of Unscripted, you'll be intrigued to see what Unscripted is about. So I've always had that mindset. I don't really wait for the right conditions. I just want to start. Yeah. When it comes to the guests too, at every point in time, I mean, you invite people, right? Yeah. You know when a certain guest is beyond where you are. Am I right?
That's true.
That's true. And sometimes you would want to go for that, but you know that you have to build yourself to get to that point. Track record to get there. So that's been one thing. So there were so many people that I wanted to interview maybe last year that I had to put them at the back and say, okay, you know what, let's build. When I get here, I'm going to invite them. And there were some, Kojo Sheldon came on the pod. The time he said yes to me, I didn't believe he was going to say yes because no big person had been on the pod, let me say. So I was very, very surprised. But I just say, you know what, I want us to bring Sheldon. This is what I have in mind. Reached out to a few people, we were able to get in contact with his PA, and then it happened. When we tried getting Kojo Forex, this e-begging thing you said is very, because I tweeted about it. I texted Kojo Forex. I can show you, I texted him so many times. Then one time I'm like, you know what, let me try and get someone very close to him. So I was going through his tweet and I realized that he was responding to one particular influencer. And I'm like, you know, this influencer and I are so like that. So I texted that influencer. He texted Forex. And when he came to Ghana, I was like, let's do it.
Crazy.
If you have to let it, sometimes there was one time I texted, I think this one I'll just show it him out. I texted one minister. If I show you the time I texted a minister, you'll be surprised. I texted him at dawn, midnight. Who does that?
A man who's aggressive.
Exactly. So this is it. You realize this good morning. That was what time is it?
Let me show you the same minister.
3 a.m.
Same time. He actually added with a bag. I'm going to show you.
You guys, you need to be watching the pod. We are trying for you people. We are trying for you people.
Show you. He got a chance to get his WhatsApp number because
I got his recently.
Because another member of the team reached out to him. And anyway, he has still aid me, but that's fine. See. With a bag.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
crazy.
I get it.
Yeah. We put in the work, you understand? Because some of these people think you're just trying to do agenda or something, but we are trying to get value for the people that are watching.
Yeah.
What
does value mean to you?
So,
and with that, I would want to understand what you want to achieve with Unscripted.
Good one. So, remember I mentioned during COVID I used to watch a lot of Western podcasts, right? Yeah. What I was seeking to achieve from those podcasts was I wanted to become somebody. So I wanted to see how certain things were done. So, for example, I was watching Ali Abdal in terms of productivity because I wanted to get productive in my life. I wanted to 10x whatever I was doing financially, whatever. When I think of value, I'm thinking of being able to, another difficult thing about doing podcasting, and I come to your question, is there are so many people that are watching the video and you don't know if you'll be able to touch every single person. But one thing I've come to understand is that in that 1 hour conversation, there will be a minute or even 30 seconds that will answer someone's question, right? So anytime I'm recording an episode, I'm just thinking about the average person that's watching. Let's take Kojo Forex as an example. The first person that's my focus for that episode is anyone who's a Forex trader, right? What are they going through? What is their struggle? This person probably doesn't have money to start or the right knowledge to start. So I want to give them something from Forex that they can apply. If we pick Julian is building things. All right, let's pick the typical university student who just finished school, did tech, computer science, and want to start building something. I want to get value. What is value? What has Julian done over the years? What does he know? Where's he trying to go? What are the books he has read? How does he handle pressure? What is his how has he been able to build a strong mindset? Everything that makes up Julian, I want to be able to get that and give the average university student who just finished to be able to also copy that blueprint. Mind you, he'll probably go on a different path, but he can take some of those stories and apply it. We can pick Stephen Bartlett as an example. He has spoken about how he has been able to build Diary of a CEO, right? He picked lessons from Diary of a CEO and then they've been able to apply it to the other podcast to build it. So yes, the story will be different, will be a different product and everything, but then definitely there's similar things you can pick from them. So when I think of value, I just want to pick whatever this person has done and then serve it to you.
Yeah.
To be able to implement it. So with Unscripted, I remember when I started Unscripted, when we started, one of the things I was telling Michael was, I want people to be able to just look at our lives and do shit. Sorry for the language. Just look at me and just do stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like you see Reagan, I'm like, wow. And there's one guy at my church that yesterday I was talking to him, I was like, he doesn't really watch podcasts. But just from the way I move with my podcast, if he's doing something, he's trying to be like Jessica, he's just like, nah, Reagan wouldn't do this. That is what I want. Right? Just look at the people we are bringing on the show and be able to just implement stuff. I just want, so when I go through my DMs and I'm seeing, oh, I watched this episode and I did this, and it makes me feel,
yeah,
right. We are trying to just, because I feel like a lot of times, because of where we are growing up, people think you can't do certain things.
Yeah.
People limit themselves because, oh, I'm from Ghana.
Yeah.
Oh, I just grew up from this place. If people see my childhood pictures and I really go deep down in my mother is always surprised when some of these guests come on, because she knows some of them from maybe, like when I brought Kojo Forest, I didn't tell her till she saw the episode. She was shocked. When I brought Sheldon, she was shocked, right? Because like, hey, wow, do you get it? Because she knew where I was coming from. So I just want people to see what we are doing and be able to just implement stuff. Just do your thing. So anytime I'm talking to people about what's Unscripted is, we are talking about business, we are talking about creators, we are talking about builders. Who are builders? Whatever you are building. I remember we had an episode on Go Inside, on fitness. Mm-hmm. Ideally, those people shouldn't fall within the category of conversations we have, but they are building a very solid business just based on fitness, right? Yeah. That is what I want. Whatever you want to build, just from consuming Unscripted, you should be able to
execute. Wow. Do you have a 5-year plan with Unscripted, like something you've documented?
No.
Or something like that. Okay.
No. In as much as, let me ask you, do I look like a planner from the conversation? Do I look like someone that plans a lot?
I mean, even from the mindsets I've touched on, you just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And execute and put in all you can and see what comes out of it. So I'm not sure if you don't exactly have a plan.
Yeah. 5-year plan, no. But for the next year, yes.
Okay.
For the next year, yes, I do know where I want to be.
So now I gather that you want to be a studio house, a media house with other podcasts, other outlets. That's fine. When you mentioned that your mother was surprised when giving her your background, and the kind of people who guess you get to speak to, you reminded me of when I spoke to Kofi Amabe. My dad called me. I mean, I spoke to my dad before, and he knew that I told him I wanted to speak to the man. He called me recently and told me that I sent him a picture of me and the man. He said he's had it framed in his room. Everybody can see.
Yeah, it feels so nice.
Yeah. And so I have a couple of questions. For me, I think what you're trying to achieve with the Peswa here, like you said, with Unscripted, you want to, distill the values these people have, and then you offer it to the average person. And for me, I think the baseline for me with this podcast, Peswa, is relatability. You just make people understand that whoever is building this thing is a human being.
They're just like you.
They're human beings. They have a story. They have struggles. They have challenges.
Right.
The upbringing some of them were not exactly as comely, and so there's no hold back. So talking about struggles and setbacks, you've built Unscripted to this point, a team of about 10 people, 10 or 20? 10. You have about 10,000 plus subscribers. Amazing work. Over the journey and the course taking the journey, what are like some major setbacks that almost shook you and made you quit what you wanted to do,
Okay. I think the most difficult thing about podcasting, and I'm glad I'm talking to another podcaster, even though it's also funny to me when I call myself a podcaster, is always trying to get the guests on. I think that's like the very difficult, because it's like your episode going out, most, let's say 70 to 90% relies on another person saying yes to you.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not an easy conversation going. Sometimes in my DMs, I take my phone and I'm DMing this, like, oh God, I don't want to sound so frustrated. Like, why do I sound like I'm begging you to just come in? Right. That's like the most difficult. Like the most difficult part of it. Because once we are able to get the guest list, the guests continually, I don't think it should be a problem. The other part of it is in terms of finances.
Yeah.
Because it costs a lot to do this. And when we went on the short break, I was telling you that if you had a guest and they say don't air the episode, Charlie, you don't know what it costs, bro.
Yeah, because it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
It's money. It's money. It's time. It's people's energy and all that, right? So I think finances has been another thing because rental of gears, rental of spaces, you're spending a lot. You're funding it from your pocket. Roundtable costs a lot, and currently they're phased unscripted in. So I think my plan was to get unscripted to 10,000 subscribers. Now, yes, I've been able to build it. I have people that are watching, and then from there start monetizing. Monetizing, the platforms are giving us money, though. That's not enough. Monetizing in the sense of now bringing in sponsorship. So that's the phase where unscripted is right now.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's a point where you need to get there. We found it for the last 18 months, and I think it's time to beg people for money. I don't beg, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think the guest and then the financing is like the two major things. The other thing will be working with people, but I think with that you get used to it.
Yeah. So there's a question I want to ask. when personally, it's good you're also a host of a podcast, and you seem to have like a lot of following across the socials. You are becoming popular, so to speak.
It's scary. Let me tell you a story. Yesterday, sorry to cut you.
It's fine.
Yesterday, one of my guys was sending me this camera to my place, and they Ubered it. And it was Sunday. I just come back from church. I just want to relax, so I was in my boxers and my singlet. So I was going out to pick the stuff from the Uber driver, and I'm like, no, let me wear shorts. I don't know why. Let me just wear shorts. I wear shorts. I go outside. The Uber driver sees me. I'm picking a thing. You're Reagan. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, so sorry, I'm not dressed. So I was like, oh, don't worry. And for a sec, I'm like, what? Because I really don't like spotlight. I just want to do my things and just go my way. So imagine I came out with my singlet and my voice.
So exactly, great story. So that you have traded your anonymity. When Dick and I were discussing this podcast and this prospects, one of the things that I dreaded was trading my anonymity, because it's something about, it's an advantage of flying low. There's an advantage flying low brings you, in as much as now to a certain degree you enter a certain space and then one or two people tend to recognize you because they've seen a video or something, right? How have you handled, I mean, like you've also said that you don't like the spotlight. How have you handled the dread that the fact that you've traded your anonymity comes with? Now you are in spaces, you have to conduct yourself in a certain way. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It comes with a certain expectation. Now, I like messing up with my friends.
Oh,
go out,
same,
shouting.
Oh,
now I'm in a space with my friends, trying to feel free, and my friends are telling me to behave. Now they are telling me to behave for obvious reasons. And so, how have you navigated that path? With regards to popularity, so to speak.
Have I even figured it out yet? That's the question. But I think I'm just being me. I think one day Michael was at my place and we were going to buy food from Hacho. And we're walking. I was like, Charlie, you serve it for Sean, they work plus me, they go there, Hacho there. I'm like, why? Because somebody will be in the kind of scene. Like, I don't care. That's the thing, right? But definitely maybe now it's compounding, it's great. Maybe we'll get to a point I'll probably have to start hiding. Right. But for now I just feel free. Definitely I wouldn't do certain things I would have done before. Maybe if I'm working, I'll be chewing something. I'll not do that now. Because next thing I'll see a picture somewhere, right? I think there was even one time I was trying to scout for a space and I was live streaming. I remember I was live streaming and I was going on, some car came to pass and the passenger inside shouted my name. And I'm like, what is all this? This is not the life I want. I want to be able to do what I want. You understand? But I think it comes with it. That's the price to pay. You definitely have to put yourself in a setting. Not like you're faking it, but you need what we call branding, right? So like your friends will say, "Oh, we are outside. Don't shout and things." No, you have to. Sometimes you have to listen to them, right? Yeah. If you come to my place and I'm there with my boys and my team members, the way I'll behave there is not the same way I'll behave outside. I remember after the round table, there was this funny moment when one guy was supposed to be recording a video and he didn't record. So a different person was recording. And when he was coming, he was like, I should take it from the top. And I said something, and that thing I said, there's a video of it, there's a sticker of it, but it has not gone outside the team because they know that there's a brand to maintain.
Yeah.
So the person that will do a mistake and said it, they know what is going to come here, right? They know I can feel free, do those kind of things within that space. But then when we go somewhere, definitely I wouldn't do that. Yeah. So, I mean, it comes with it.
Yeah, because I've also realized, I asked that because I've realized that you become very intentional and more like vocal about building a personal brand.
Yeah.
Why?
This one was Kenny. You know Kenny, right?
Ribeiro.
Yeah,
yes.
Kenny Ribeiro. So I think earlier this year I had a call with her, brainstorming session kind of, and we're talking about the things I do. So all the things I spoke about here, she didn't know about it. So I remember after that call, I had to even go and change my bio because sometimes because I'm doing so many things, it's difficult to like balance or show every side of it. And she was telling me about how, most people will follow Unscripted not because of the guest, but because of the personality of Reagan as well. Like they need to know who Reagan is, right? So I had to become intentional about that. Talk about myself. So I've even started posting more personal content, right? That's aside to intentionality in the kind of things I post. Left to me alone, there are so many silly things I post. so many very silly things I post. Because I'm a very random guy, and that's the reason why I created that private account I spoke about earlier. Because there are certain things I've posted there that will never go out unless it's hacked.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I became intentional because of that, and I realized, there are people that follow me because of the guests, but there are people who follow me just because of the human being. They want to see what I'm building. They want to see what my day-to-day looks like.
Interesting. Because I'm still wrapping my mind around the whole idea of building a personal
You need
brand.
to come out of your shell, Bill.
Because it's enough. Like the podcast is doing its work. What's the point of? Because I've had people who have also someone in the manner of Kenny speak to me about being intentional about a personal brand, and I don't even know what that means. I get the idea, but I haven't distilled what it means to me.
So let me explain.
Yes.
So let's take Stephen. I'll use him as an example because I watch him a lot. Stephen Bartlett as an example. Aside die of a CEO, every other thing he does, I know about it. I know he's an investor in Stanford. He bought his way into becoming a co-founder. He invests in what they call that green tea thing. Mm-hmm. He invested in a company. I've forgotten the name. TED. Yeah, I think it's called TED also. He invested in a company that was on Dragos then. He's with Fly Story. He's trying to build another office in the US. He's doing so many things, right? But you wouldn't know about it if he doesn't talk about it. And that's why they even started Behind the Diary. Because at that side, you get to see who Stephen is as a person. You get to see his day-to-day activities, the times he's talking to his girlfriend, he's carrying his dog, all those things, right? You don't have to show so much of your personal life. Before the pod, you were telling me about the things you are building. I don't think so many people know about it. I've seen, I think, one of them in your Instagram bio. Yeah. But I'm not sure your viewers, do you talk about it on the pod?
Nope.
Exactly. People will follow you for who you are. And it's the same reason why there's been the rise of personal brand, because most people are following the people behind the brand than the brand itself. Elon Musk is followed more than Tesla.
Yeah.
I have more followers than Unscripted.
That's interesting.
Right. So you need to be able to build that brand. People need to trust you as a voice in this space. I'm sure they already trust you, but if you become more intentional about it, people now trust you and say, oh, okay, let me go and listen to what this guy is talking about on his pod with his guest. Mm-hmm. You get it? You are highlighting stories, trying to be relatable with other people. Why don't you want people to see your side?
You're very funny. Okay. Spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of the conversation, you mentioned that you were in prayer and God spoke to you. And even from your socials, I get the sense that there's a certain level of spirituality.
Yeah, you too.
Commitment to God. What does that mean for you?
So, looks like I have a story for everything. I think I'm here for a reason. I'm on earth for a reason. I think when I recorded a vlog or episode with my mom, she spoke about how the story behind my birth is a very interesting one. She even shared just a part of it. It's a very, very interesting one. I think one of the stories she said I shouldn't share it. But when I heard that story, I realized that God had a reason for why Reagan became Reagan, or for why I was born. So I always see everything I'm doing as going somewhere, trying to accomplish something, right? And I remember one time Kenny asked me, I think I posted a picture of Mr. Beast having the whole YouTube subscriber thing. And she was like, okay, so Reagan, I have a question. If you get all this thing, then what? I'm like, I'm not really chasing those things. I'm not chasing the 10,000 subscribers because I want the numbers, or the million subscribers because I want the numbers. Remember I mentioned that I'm doing everything because people should be able to look at me and say, yeah, because Reagan is doing this, I'm going to do this, right? Just because there are a couple of, yesterday, a girl came to church. I entered. She turned. I was coming to sit down. She was like, hi, please, are you Reagan? I'm like, yeah. She was like, wow, I've been meaning to meet you. I've been watching your podcast. I came to your church last week for the first time, and I saw you, and I said, I'll come again this week because I want to say hi to you. Do you get me? So I remember telling Kenny that I want everything I'm doing to point to one person. That's Jesus. Yes, you're inspired. Reagan is doing this, he's building this. I want to also build this. But the center of it all, he's always talking about one person, Jesus. And like you mentioned, on my socials, I'm not hiding it. You know it. I think in every episode, I'm definitely mention something like that, right? So everything is centered around that. I think the round table like this, they're done to that. I spent a couple of hours praying for it. Most of the guests I interview, I don't just wake up and just move to them. There are times where I think there was one person like that I was praying and Holy Spirit told me to text. Texted the person replied. I'm like, okay. So I'm doing everything from a place of God gave me this, so I trust him in every step of the way. With money, with team members, with every decision that has to be taken. So I don't joke with that side. With everything I'm doing, Unscripted, Team Raygan, the design Junkies, Book and Grain, everything. I'm trusting God.
Yeah. Reagan, I hope to talk to you again when you've hit 10 million subscribers. Let's shake hands on it. That when you hit 1 million subscribers, I'll be the first person you say, Bill, what you did? And we have a conversation. I know what you're doing. You're a very young man. And remember one time in your story, you mentioned that you are looking forward to making an impact. And I kind of get a sense of the impact you're trying to build. And I really hope you can remain unwavering and with, because instead of blind naivety, just go on executing, even though you don't have it all figured out. And I know you're paneled well. So thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. I hope I was able to answer your questions well, because I don't like being on the other side of the table. But I'm trying to do this more. And I also doing an amazing work. Like I said, we need more of this. Because I think we are missing out a lot in this side, let me say Ghana, in terms of sharing stories. Even you yourself. Right now we've mentioned, please, the audience, you guys need to put in the comment section that, Bill, we want to hear your story. We need to know who Bill is.
Story.
We need to know who Bill is. See what is written on your shirt. Just build something. You have a story. But yeah, I think we want more of this podcast, more of the relatable stories over here. Because if you go on Twitter and some of this platform, you feel as if everybody's failing. But I think there are people that are trying to build something, and we need to highlight that. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So community, that was the host for Unscripted with Reagan Marfo. And as our mantra remains, just build something.